Hello everyone and welcome to my yet another exciting video on a different topic today. Let me recapitalize as to what we did in the last lecture. In the last lecture we spoke a lot of things related with job design, and when we were talking about job design I delved into a lot of other aspects of job evaluation and job enrichment, job enlargement, job simplification, so on and so forth. So what I thought today that though I have given you a gist of what is job description or what is job enlargement or what is job enrichment, but I again thought over that I should give you a more in-depth knowledge about the job enlargement and job enrichment. So here I bring to you a different video specially focused on job enlargement and job enrichment. Just to recapitalize as to what we did in the last one, I told you all that job enlargement and job enrichment both are a very important part of the HR. And when we are talking about the job enlargement, it is basically the horizontal loading of the job or horizontal loading of the work existing to the person who is doing it. And job enrichment is the vertical loading of the work. So let's have a look at more aspect of job enrichment and job enlargement. Now, here as we know that we have been talking about the job analysis. Just to give you a gist of what is the meaning of job analysis, you all remember that job analysis is nothing but is again something which is related with job description and job specification. And job description is basically deciding upon the duties and the responsibilities that one has to actually shoulder. And job specification is basically the minimum criteria that one has to fulfill in order to do that task. So, here again we've been talking about a lot of things related with the job design and job rotation and job enlargement and enrichment here, but what I would like to focus is, I would like to focus on the concept of job enrichment. Now, my dear friends, when we talk about job enrichment, basically it's a process of adding motivators. When we talk about motivators, these motivators are added to the existing roles to increase the employee satisfaction. So, basically job enrichment is just a vertical loading of the work profile, and in the case of job enrichment, as you can see on the screen also, that it is like where we are giving more responsibility to somebody. For example, Mr. X is there. He is performing particular task, but simultaneously he is given some another responsibility of doing some other work. So naturally the work is like vertical loading. So why we actually do the job enrichment? Job enrichment is basically done in order to bring the satisfaction level of the people and also to improve the work quality and make the work more engaging and more satisfying for the people. So one of the features of the job enrichment is that there is a direct feedback that can be achieved by the people. There is new learning, because when there is a vertical loading, that means the person is being prepared for the next level of job. Maybe if the person is doing a task and if the person is absent, then the person is trained in such a manner that the person is able to take over the charge. So naturally there is new learning, new scheduling, there is a better relationship, and it's a unique experience. Why this a unique experience? Because if a person is not there, then the person who is below the level or maybe some other person is taking over the charge of that particular area. So naturally there is more control over the resources, there is more and clear form of communication along with the personal accountability. We have to bear in mind that the job enrichment can always come with the high rise in the salary also, and it may not be, but both of them it's more of the satisfying part, because it's more of the motivators that are being added to the current job, which will actually increase the satisfaction level and the morale of the people. So here in the case of job enrichment, the word satisfaction is very essential, and you will be only satisfied when the motivators have been added. Motivators, it can be in the form of better responsibility, it can be in the form of high authority, more power, so on and so forth. So, in the case of this theoretical framework of job enrichment, as you can see on the screen, that as I told you that employee satisfaction word is very essential, because when people are very satisfied, naturally it will reflect in their work quality. So naturally, as I told you earlier also, that as an employee we are just concerned with two P's, that is the performance and the profitability. So if the performance is good enough, So naturally, you are one of the biggest asset of the organization, and definitely the company would like to retain you. And once you have the job enrichment, that is the vertical loading of the task has been done. So naturally, if you are a performer and if the profitability of the company is increasing, you are entitled for some kind of rewards too. So these rewards, we have already had a session on this. These can be the intrinsic rewards and these can be the extrinsic rewards that can be given to the people. So these rewards, whether the intrinsic or the extrinsic, they are big motivators, and when these rewards are added to the job profile, naturally people are always happy to exert their better performances, or they are ready to give in their best performances. So as I told you that in the case of job enrichment, the word satisfaction is very essential, and this satisfaction will eventually result in the better performance of the people. And of course, we know that it is the individuals who make up the group, and it is the group that make up the organization. So when the organization is growing, naturally you are also growing with the organization. So here this is the framework which very explicitly says that people who are working in the organization, they will always be motivated to perform better if the rewards are attached to their performance, and these rewards, they are nothing but again a big way of motivating people. Next, what we see is that there can be different techniques that can be involved in the case of job enrichment. So, as I told you that job enrichment is the vertical loading of the work that is given to the employee, and it is more of the addition with the task and responsibilities, or maybe the skills and other things that can be added. So, basically job enrichment is a concept which is based on the idea that due to the technological developments and increased job specialization, there may be many jobs which become monotonous and uninspiring. So, enriching these jobs is of paramount importance, and enriching these jobs is one of the potential ways to solve the problem. Here are some kind of techniques which are mentioned. For example, it is increased variety of tasks. So, increased variety of tasks basically means there is some kind of task diversity that is included in the job profile. So, adding different type of task will definitely reduce the monotony. Now, my dear friends, we all know that anybody who is doing a particular kind of task over and over again, so definitely there can be a lot of monotony and fatigue that can creep in. So, one of the ways to overcome this monotony or fatigue is enriching the jobs in terms of giving some better responsibilities, or maybe the person is getting prepared to handle or take care of the job which was handled by someone else. Then, second important point or technique of job enrichment is all related with the autonomy, giving employees more control over how they complete their tasks. Now, we have to bear in mind that everyone likes freedom. So, every now and then if people, they are they are poked by the interferences maybe by the manager, maybe by the superior, or maybe by the heads, people actually don't really relish it. So, let's say that in the case of job enrichment, let's leave it on the people to make a decision. If you remember, we also discussed something which was known as the management by objectives. It was given by Peter F. Drucker. So, there was a common association between the management and the people, and they used to sit together and they used to take a decision on as to how the goals will be attained. So, here autonomy is basically giving some freedom to people to actually analyze a situation or take decision or do whatever they want, but at least what the company wants at the end is the accomplishment of the goals, only the accomplishment of the goals. The company is not concerned how you are actually doing it, but at the end of the month or at the end of the quarter or maybe at the end of half yearly or whatever it is, the goals have to be accomplished. Then in the case of job enrichment is like offering feedback. Providing regular and constructive feedback helps the employees understand their performance. The third point that we talk about is offering the feedback. Now, providing regular and constructive feedback actually helps the employees to understand their performance. A well-wisher will be a person, my dear friends, who is ready to give you the constructive feedback. And if you work upon those feedback and if you make an improvement, you become better day by day. So, it is very essential that you are surrounded by people who are well-wishers and who are giving you the feedback or maybe anything which is negative. So this feedback can be positive and negative also. So we have to bear in mind that if it is a kind of a negative feedback, it should always be given in private, and if it is positive feedback, it can be given in front of everyone. So one of the techniques of the job enrichment, or the components of the job enrichment, is that there should be a regular feedback, so that the person knows that how the person is performing, or which are the lacunas which he or she needs to overcome. Then the fourth one, it talks about the encouragement of the skill development, providing opportunities for employees to learn new skills and advances in their career. So naturally, in the case of job enrichment, people are trying to move forward. As I told you that it's a kind of a vertical loading of the work which is actually done by the person. So there can be more of the task that can be added to the people with the high or increase in the salary, or maybe in the perks. So naturally, there is a kind of a career progression for the employee. So that is also kind of a motivator. Please understand, in the case of job enrichment, the word satisfaction, or maybe the psychological satisfaction and motivation, they are of paramount importance. Then creating task identity, ensuring employees can see the outcome of their work and understand the significance of the contribution. So creating the task identity, people should actually come to know that what kind of contribution are they making to the company. So whether that kind of contribution is actually a constructive one, or it is not a constructive one, whatever it is. But ultimately, any kind of contribution which is being made by the employee should always add on to the efficiency or the productivity of the company. So definitely, as I told you, that job enrichment actually helps to improve the efficiency of the worker, along with the raising their level of satisfaction. So at times, in the case of job enrichment, there can be some kind of diversity of the jobs or the task, and naturally there are better growth opportunities, because a person better equips for better jobs. So naturally, there is a kind of a career progression also. Enhancing task significance, connecting employees to work together to the broader goals and mission of the organization. So naturally, if you are part of the company, so you are getting connected, and the moment you are getting connected, there is a feeling of sense of belongingness, and the sense of cohesiveness will definitely increase, or the feeling of cohesiveness will definitely increase. So these were the common techniques of the job enrichment, and job enrichment is one of the very, very important concept of HR. So I thought of doing it right from the beginning. So it's like definitely, as I told you, it can also include the tasks which were formerly performed by someone else at a higher level, but now it is being performed by the current employee. So it is like more of increasing the depth of the job of the person, and where we can always experience the higher autonomy, higher sense of responsibility, higher sense of motivation, and of course, so with all these things, there comes a higher sense of challenge also. And when the challenge is very high, the growth, the requisition, advancement, achievement, all those things, they will also follow. Now, as you can see on the screen, there are certain examples of job enrichment. For example, let's have a look at this, the marketing department. Now, imagine you have hired a writer who shows enthusiasm, curiosity. Initially, they might only be responsible for writing articles on briefs. Through job enrichment, you could allow them to create their own briefs, proofread it and publish them. This broadens their skill and gives them ownership of the entire process. That means, here in the case of this example, you are giving more autonomy to the person, that instead of writing articles which are based on their briefs, the person is allowed to do it on him or herself. So naturally, there is more autonomy, more satisfaction. When the person is given some kind of autonomy, the person feels more satisfied, and when the person is satisfied, naturally, the results are exponential. The second example, that designing the team, a designer responsible for creating landing pages might typically follow briefs from the marketing manager. With the job enrichment, they could be responsible for creating the wireframes, designing the page, and presenting the final product to the marketing manager. That means, instead of only designing the part, the person is also allowed to take care of the other things also, maybe the designing the page, or maybe the setting and other things. So this process enhances the role by giving them greater control and responsibility. So when there is a greater control and responsibility, there are challenges, and if you are able to overcome the challenges, so naturally it will reflect in your PP, that is performance and profitability. So if the performance and profitability, both of them are good, so naturally it's a positive sign for the people. The third example, software development team. In software development, job enrichment might involve encouraging employees to contribute to the product vision. Instead of just implementing the assigned task, developers could be given opportunity to propose new features. Now, for example, if you are taking care of a software development, so the person may be asked to do a small part of the work. For example, if you remember job simplification, where the entire job used to be broken into the smaller parts. So one part is being done by somebody, other part being done by somebody, the other part is being done by somebody. For example, I gave you the example of Domino's also, or maybe the McDonald's. So here, if you are in a software company, so there can be some kind of autonomy that can be given to you, that okay, you are given some kind of freedom to add on some new features to the software that you are designing. So this kind of autonomy, when it is being given, people can think out of the box, and then they think that okay, there are challenges, the person needs to perform well, and when the person performs well, there are more growth opportunities, there is more R&R, recognition and rewards and sense of achievement, and then there's a lot of psychological satisfaction that also comes with the performance of the task. Participate in the design discussion and see the impact of their work on the final product. So this fosters a sense of ownership and drives innovation within the team. That means, so if you are given that kind of autonomy, so naturally there is a different kind of spirit that actually runs in the entire team, and every member feels very, very happy and satisfied, then the team spirit is very high, then the team building concepts also creep in here, and people may be very, very happy being a part of the entire team. So there can be certain advantages of job enrichment also, my dear friends. As I told you that in the case of job enrichment, there are characteristics that are very meaningful, and that will definitely be more motivating, and it would have an impact on the performance. So it can be all related with the diversity of the job, then there is a task identity, or maybe the significance, or maybe the autonomy, or maybe the validity. Now, we know that the main goal of job enrichment is to motivate people, increase their satisfaction level, and improve their work quality. So, enriching jobs has numerous benefits also for both the employees and the organization. For example, there is the first one, as you see on the screen, is increased employee motivation. That means when employers actually strive to give their people more critical tasks and responsibilities, this can actually boost their motivation and improve their performance level. So the motivation level is very, very high, and this motivation level will actually reflect in your performance and profitability. Then improved employee retention. So naturally, if the person is a performer, and the productivity is also very high, so naturally you are a big asset for the company, and if you happen to be one of the big assets for the company, you will be retained in the company like anything. So once you are retained, so that means there is an increased sense of fulfillment amongst the people, and the employee actually accomplishes a very, very challenging task, and then they initially thought that it was very difficult, but then they were able to do it with a lot of confidence. So there comes a lot of a sense of fulfillment, and there is high level of motivation, and then the performance and productivity is also very, very high. So naturally, people will, the company will make an attempt to retain such kind of people, because company is always willing to have those productive and efficient people in the company who can take the company to the next level. Then more efficient training. So if the person is retained in the company, so of course there can be better training opportunities for the people. And when we have the training opportunities, naturally it is an opportunity for people to learn new skills. So what we can say is that for employees, job enrichment often means doing something they are unfamiliar and they don't necessarily have the right skills for it, but still they try to do it, broaden their skill set. So once they are doing, once they are broadening their skill set, that means some kind of training is also being given to them, or the training is being given to them to fill up that kind of gap. So the moment the trainings are given to people, they become better and better, and things, they move on a very positive note. The another one is unfolding untapped employee potential. As I told you, that people are given some kind of autonomy, and where they are doing a task which they were not prepared for, and now they are being asked to do that the kind of task which is quite challenging. And if they are able to overcome that challenged task, so naturally there is a psychological relief and psychological satisfaction that one experiences. And as soon as the person experiences that kind of psychological relief and satisfaction, the motivation level is very, very high, which will eventually get reflected in the performance and profitability of the company. So, above all, apart from tapping the potential, so these were the hidden talent that people had and the company didn't know about it. So once they are given an opportunity, only then we can unlayer that kind of talent or hidden talent amongst the people. So we know that whenever the job enrichment experience is successful, it will always lead to the satisfaction and happier employees, which by extension may create a more pleasant work environment for everyone, and a better overall employee experience. So we know that when the experience is very good, so naturally what will happen is that people will be very happy and satisfied. So there will be less number of absenteeism, and when there is less absenteeism, the rate of turnover will be very, very low, and that is what actually the company wants, that the rate of turnover should be minimum. So somewhere or the other, we know that job enrichment brings a lot of benefits also. Now let's have a look at the kind of potential challenges which the company actually incurs while implementing the job enrichment. The first one is the resistance to change. People are not ready to change it. People are not ready to accept the changes so easily, because they are already accustomed to using certain types of machinery. They are accustomed to staying in a particular kind of environment, and then all of a sudden there's a change of environment, there's a change of task, and the task becomes more challenging, and though the challenge is there, but the rewards are also equivalent. But at the initial phases, people will be very, very reluctant to take over the task that has been given to the people. So that is one of the challenges that is actually being faced by the company. So, and above all, at times what happens is that when people, they are resistant to changes, there is always a fear amongst people that they will be overworked or they will be stressed out. So, because of the overwork or the stressed out condition, they will not like to change it. Then of course, increased workload, as I told you, that is like more of adding responsibilities. At times it can overwhelm some employees, and it may not overwhelm some employees. So if it does not overwhelm the employees, so definitely it will lead to the decreased satisfaction level, and so naturally the stress and the potential burnout level will also be less. But my dear friends, what is more important is that the stress and the burnout or the potential burnout, it has to be properly managed. So if you are able to de-stress yourself, you can keep yourself active and happy. So naturally no one would like to get away from taking away the additional responsibilities. Then the next challenge is that the skill gap. Now we know that all people, they are not well equipped with the same kind of skills. So there can be skills gap also, that the people or the person may not be fit enough to take up the kind of additional responsibility, which is very, very challenging. So, and we have to bear in mind that not all employees desire the increased responsibility or complexity of the job enrichment. Rather, they would always prefer stability and predictability in their roles. So, skill gap is very, very important, that people may be misfit. People may be misfit for a particular task. Then balancing autonomy and accountability, though we say that autonomy is one of the advantages of the job enrichment, but balancing both of them is a little difficult task. Reason being, because people are little apprehensive of the fact that whether they will be able to do justice to the work that they have been entrusted with, because the task may be new, the task may be quite challenging, so on and so forth. So striking a balance between the accountability and the autonomy may be a difficult task. And we know that there are a lot of other people who are in between. They can help you also, and then they can pose some kind of bottlenecks also. So there can be some kind of skill gap. Then last one is the organizational support. At times it is not necessary that all the organization they are going to give you full support. So if the organization is supportive, only then the job enrichment can be a success, otherwise it will not be one. Then let's have a look at the features of the job enlargement. So job enlargement is basically nothing but is just the horizontal loading of the work which is being done without any extra pay to people. For example, if there is a teacher and the teacher has been given some additional responsibility to take care, so that is the horizontal loading and that is the job enlargement. Whereas in the case of job enrichment, there can be some kind of increase in the pay package also. So we know that this is a horizontal kind of expansion job redesign strategy that people are given, again the diversity of tasks to complete, and there can be at times when they are not given any kind of increase in the salary, then it can be a big demotivator rather. And for performance feedback is always given to the people. There is a kind of work flexibility, people are allowed to work and they take their own time to complete the task. And no additional skills is required. It is like the person already possesses the skill, and only then additional responsibility, additional duties are entrusted to the person. In the case of what are the benefits of the job enlargement is like, of course, variety of tasks or activities can be performed by one person. There is proper utilization of the skills and ability. In the previous slide, we know that no additional skill is needed in the case of job enlargement. So any skill that a person possesses, but with having that skill in mind, more tasks they are being added to the profile without any additional money paid. Then better earning possibilities, satisfactory work modules can be done, like if you are working in the company, so you cannot say no to any kind of job that is given to you or any kind of duty that is entrusted to you. Then keeps workers engaged. So naturally we are leveraging the skills of every worker, and then we are identifying which are the skill set that people have, and then the company makes best possible efforts to leverage the skills of the people, or rather in other words what we can say, leverage the diverse skills of the individual for the benefit of the company. Now example of adding smaller tasks to help a team member improve their skills. Sometimes manager may determine the best task combination and enlarge the skill set. For example, a team member who works on an assembly line may work on assembly more parts of the product. For example, if a person is good enough in working the assembly line, he may be given some additional responsibility to take care or to work on more parts of it before passing their work along to the next phase of development. Because the person is already skillful in working the assembly line, so for example, if he is working on 2-3 aspects, maybe he is given 4-5 aspects to work on the assembly line. So this is an example of job enlargement. Over time, the team member becomes more efficient in their role and develops strong time management skill. Now, because why we are talking about the time management skill? Because the task is being added to the profile of the person. So definitely everyone has got limited time. So the entire task has to be finished in a limited span of time, keeping in mind not to deteriorate the quality and the performance of the task. So here time management is very, very essential. So that happens to be one of the example of the job enlargement. Now the slide that you see on the screen, it gives basically the difference between the job enlargement and job enrichment. As I told you in the initial phase of my lecture only, that I wanted to give you a better idea or in-depth knowledge about the job enrichment and job enlargement. So that is why I thought of having a separate topic on this. So as far as the comparisons are made, they can be made on the basis of meaning, concept, objective, results, requirement, expansion, supervision, extra pay and external requirement, direction. We know that it is at this similar level of the job because it's on horizontal. This is an horizontal loading of the work. And here it is the vertical zone. So vertical is basically we are adding vertically. The person is moving up or performing a task at a higher level, right? So, in the second one is the quantitatively expanding the scope of the job and qualitatively extending the range of activities performed by a job. So, there the person is given more autonomy and it's more of a challenging task that is given to them. The main purpose is, main objective is to decrease the boredom and monotony, but here to make the job more challenging, interesting and lively. So, definitely it's like as I told you that to get rid of the monotony and the fatigue, we go for job enrichment. Then it may not be positive. The result of job enrichment is always positive. Why the result of job enrichment is always positive? Because here the person gets an opportunity to improve his or her skill set, or he is always given some kind of training. So, whenever there is an improvement, any kind of improvement, it will generally positive. Whereas in the case of job enlargement, it may not be, because people feel stressed out, people feel burned out, and people feel that, oh, again I have been given some kind of additional task and the person is supposed to complete that task within that small period of framework, or maybe within the stipulated time period. Then rarely additional skills are required, higher skills are required. Like in the case of job enrichment, better skills are required because you are doing anything which you have not done earlier probably. But here in the case, if you remember the last slide also, no additional skills are actually needed. But in case, if it is needed, then that can be a different case. So, this is an horizontal, this is a vertical loading. Then there is more supervision required and comparatively less, because you are doing a task at which you are good enough. And here again, it's more of the stress and more of workload is added. And here what is more important is no extra pay is given. So, when there is no extra pay given and then there is more addition of tasks to your profile, so definitely this is gonna be very, very stressful and demotivating one. But in the case of job enrichment, one gets an extra pay also. External direction and control is needed, and there is self-direction and control, because you are being better equipped for the next level of job. So, my dear friends, thank you so much. So, this was all I had for you with the concept related with job enrichment and job enlargement. And as you can see my book, this time I thought of putting the picture of my books, because every time when I have been speaking to you, I have been reiterating that these respective charts, they have been taken from my book only. So, if you feel that okay, you want to get more in-depth knowledge, then you can always have a look at my book also. So, I feel that or rather I am quite confident that by this time you are well equipped with the concept of job enlargement and job enrichment. Thank you so much for staying with me. I shall catch up with you with the new topic on HRM in my next video. Thank you so much.